Hello, and welcome to my recorded lecture. We are more than halfway through the term, and I want to continue to provide you with valuable information and tools and everything. But first, we have to get through some housekeeping. First, your recent assignment, they're the ones that were sent already were graded, but there's a couple of you that still haven't sent it. There is a late penalty, but it'll only be like 5 points. I just really want to get it graded and get it in the system so you can see. Um, and I've emailed you if you are missing the assignment. Also, and don't stress, please don't stress, but just, get it to me. If you have any questions, shoot me an email or, ask to hop on Zoom and we can talk it out. And I can, help and definitely, lean on your colleagues as well. Since some of you all are in groups. But again, if you need me, I'm here. So they are graded, just waiting on two more, and I'm going to upload all your grades tonight. So whether I get the other two graded or not today, you will have those grades in tonight. Cool. And today is unfortunately Thursday. I just wanted to record this again so you'll have it since I physically won't be on tomorrow. I'll be, in the chat here and there. But the meeting is supposed to be the entire class time. But you have a great guest speaker and yeah, and I have a great PowerPoint I'm gonna show you or a presentation today. So you should be fine. Um, Meetings. I will make time. You just tell me when you're available. And I'll figure it out. That's why I say send me 3 days times, that you are available and I will make it work. Unless it's like Sunday at 11, at 10, 11, 12. I'm at church at that time. But other than that, for the most part, my friend Crystal's services are Saturday from 11 to 1. That's why Saturday is the only day that's not an option. But tonight, hopefully, someone will email me and want to meet tonight. But also tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then I'll be in traffic and in transit because I gotta drive a little ways. But after that, but 10 to 3 tomorrow, Friday, or today, um, and Saturday. I'm sorry, scratch that. Sunday. Sorry. And I left a big window on Sunday, but I would need to know as soon as possible because, I still want to be able to like go to the grocery store and see friends and whatnot too. So, just let me know. All right. So, tomorrow's schedule, class, today's schedule, class starts at 7 p.m. and you will meet in your groups. So there'll be breakout rooms already set up for you, and I will have it set to where you can join once I admit you into class. Please be on time. I can't say that enough. Please be on time. Please be on time. If you could be early, that'd be helpful too. If you get there early, I can also just make you the host, and that way you can just let everybody in. So let me know. Because again, it's going to be a lot going on tomorrow evening for me. But I don't want to put that on y'all. So I will make time. I'll have my phone with me. I'll have my tablet. So you'll be fine. So class will begin at 7. Zoom will be open. And then, like I said, if you join early before 7, I will probably just make you the host. That way, nobody will be sitting in the waiting room too long in case I don't have my phone on me at that exact moment or I go to the bathroom. You never know. Also, the guest speaker will log on around 8. She may come on a little early and pick her brain. She also will have the presentation I'm showing you today. So she'll have all of the slides so that if there's any questions you may have from the presentation that you don't email me and you want to get her opinion, feel free. She is a social impact strategist. She is a dynamic person. She's a teacher. So she teaches substitute teaching right now, but she also has done workshops in things with adults. Um, she has an MBA. She's a not only a good friend of mine, but she's also someone I respect in the area of strategy and impact. And a lot of the PR campaigns you see now are ran by like social impact strategists, which is what basically she is. And she has her own company. And hopefully you read her bio. Like I said, she is a good friend of mine, but we actually met when she was a campaign manager for a social justice organization. So, like I said, she is a really good person, especially with around the timeline and budgeting. She has an MBA. So she is a good resource and she is available to you for the remainder of class tomorrow when she hops on. So if you have any questions or concerns, I just feel free to shoot me an email and I'll get those answered for you. I'm excited about that. Her name is Folashade. I call her Sade for short, like the singer, but she is Nigerian and American. Her mother is from DC, her dad is from Nigeria, and she's like I said, a really great person. So that's tomorrow's schedule or today's schedule, but this will be posted later tonight. Um, Presentation time. So without further ado, also, attendance is updated, and I will make sure that because I'll get a list of everybody that logged in, and I'll make sure everybody is accounted for with attendance because I know that's important for funding. Again, I hope that my availability to meet with you outside of class makes up for the crazy schedule due to my friend Crystal passing away. Still struggling with that, by the way, because I keep wanting to call her. Like she was my COVID bubble. She didn't live too far away from me. And I met her through my sorority sister. If you look at the graphic I posted, I shared in the email, you'll see pictures. But I just appreciate all of your condolences and I pray no one else dies. I mean, I was so shaken and I just had a very hard week, even just getting things ready for this weekend. Yeah, so thank you. All right, it is time. Hopefully you all have already looked at the presentation that I had uploaded gosh, 2 weeks ago now. And so this presentation is somewhat of a continuation because that was like the more you know, right? Like going through each step of the plan. Um, and I don't expect you all to be experts, but I do expect you all to, have a really good idea of the audience. You all should have researched other similar campaigns by now, and then you can see the difference between, PR, advertising, and marketing in there. And, making sure your research is thorough, because I think that will provide a lot of understanding when it comes down to the program. And I'm sorry, the campaign. Understanding your tactics and strategies, but knowing your audience is really key to creating those goals and objectives and um, coming up with those strategies and the tactics as well. So knowing your audience, like I said, is very critical to a successful campaign. And now today we are, let me get this shared. Okay. So today is plan your work, work your plan. What does that mean, right? So at this point, you all should have a clear plan um of how you want what your campaign is and what that is going to kind of look like in terms of knowing your audience. You've seen similar campaigns, but you're going to put your own spin on it, right? So plan your work, work your plan. Oops. Overview. In order to have a successful PR campaign, you must have an applicable plan. In other words, your plan should it should apply to not only your client, but again, your audience and also the age that we live in. So don't feel like you have to use only traditional media, legacy media, right? And we'll talk about all those differences in a minute. Um, meet people where they are. Your plan must include broad goals, specific objectives, clear strategies, tangible tactics, and a realistic timeline and budget. What does that mean, Dr. P? I don't understand. All right. So, your campaign goals and objectives. So, goals are broader, and have more general outcomes, right? However, objectives are more specific and have measurable indicators. So when you're doing your objective, you have to look at it. I'm using the SMART, you know, and we'll get that in a minute. So an example would be a goal would be improve the public image of Jay-Z, right? Or improve the public image of Cardi B or whoever. But an objective is to increase the number of posts about the good they do in the community by 50%. Again, specific measurable indicators, right? How do you measure that? That what you do is you look at a post, right? And you see and you see how many posts they've had before. And then you say, okay, they've only had 10 posts in the past year. So now if this is a 6 month campaign, hypothetically, you would have 10 posts in 6 months. Again, you're increasing it, right? So by 50%, that's the bare minimum. But let's say you double it. That'd be awesome, right? So that's the difference between goals and objectives. You want your objectives to be realistic. Never set an unreasonably high objective. In other words, don't say you want to increase the positive social media posts by 400%, right? When you haven't even, tried to do it by 50%. Also, your objectives should be clearly defined, meaning they should be specific and concrete rather than vague and abstract. Again, your goals are those broader, vague, abstract things, but the objective should be, again, very specific and concrete. And if you cannot measure it, then it is weak. It is a weak objective. That's what that means. It is a weak objective. So make sure that it's measurable. Okay, these are out of order. Forgive me. I want to go to here. Okay. So I'll fix it before I post it, I promise. So nope, that's not it either. Okay, I do not have a smart slide here. My apologies. I thought that there was a smart slide. I think it's in the wrong place. All right. So make sure that your objectives are SMART, which means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay. Again, SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. SMART. And I will add that slide back in before I post it. Okay. So now we're going to transition to making sure you understand the differences between media, non-media, traditional media versus non-traditional media. By now, you have done two PR analyses, right, of two different campaigns looking at traditional and non-traditional media. And non-traditional can also include non-media. I loved the oh gosh, it's killing me. Rachel's analysis with Adidas. Nope, not true. It wasn't Rachel. It was Asia. Analysis with Adidas because it was a very non-traditional, non-media type of campaign. And I appreciated the the detail of the event. So it was an event on a beach in Dubai that Adidas did for women who have to be covered, like Muslim women, and they had specific swimsuits for them. So I really liked that. But I also really appreciated all of your insights for everybody, that you did in terms of your PR analyses. And yes, Rachel, yours is bomb too. You will see it. You'll see my feedback. Um, but I thought that that event, okay, was like spot on in, looking at a non-media thing and then still to bringing in non-traditional media, which was like YouTube, right? So everybody can see it all over the world. All right, so what is media? Well, some examples of media, right? Newspapers, magazines, social media, radio, podcast, the news, like broadcast news. That's all media. So these images here are just examples of different types of media. What's non-media in this particular space? Non-media would be like a concert or a community service event or a cocktail reception, or some, how they have those receptions after work where you get free food and free wine. I love those. But those can also be like PR events, right? Because maybe it's a meet and greet or something. That's what these images are displaying, right? So this image here, if you see my cursor, is a concert, right? And then this image here is like a cocktail event. You can see people holding wine glasses. So it's like a reception or a meet and greet. Also, fireside chats are really cool non-media PR strategies as well. And then this is a community service event, an outdoor community service event. So that again, you partner with a community-based organization, and that's also a great non-media event. And there are others out there. I mean, like I said, Google is your friend, but these are just examples. And then you have, let's break down traditional versus non-traditional media. Well, traditional media is what they call legacy media. Legacy media is like radio, television, newspapers, right? Magazines. So that's traditional media. But non-traditional media is not legacy media, like podcasting, scrolling on social media. Those are non-traditional types of media. Doing TikToks, doing what are they called? The YouTube craze, all of that is non-traditional, but they are still forms of media. So don't feel like they're not media because they are. So your campaign should include media and non-media, also traditional and non-traditional. What do you mean, Dr. P? That means that you have to have some like a radio interview. Okay, that's traditional media. And then non-media would be like a festival or a meet and greet, right? And then you take that and you move it to saying specifically what type of media, right? So you want to have, like I said, the radio interview, but then you also want to have maybe a podcast interview as well, or maybe you'll have an Instagram live, where your client answers questions or something like that. So again, media and non-media, traditional and non-traditional. That's why I wanted you to be familiar with all of them. And if you want to email me questions, feel free. Okay, so at the end of your campaign, but in this case, at the end of your project, I want you to do a SWOT analysis, right? So this is just examples, but SWOT analysis is really just for you to assess this process, right? The PR campaign process. So you want to examine what are some strengths of this campaign? What are some weaknesses? A huge weakness for all of y'all's campaigns is that we don't have a lot of time, right? So that's totally understandable. Think of another one though, because there's some other weaknesses internally, right? Or maybe y'all don't have enough time to meet or something. What are some opportunities, right? So again, these are examples here, but did this create an opportunity for scholarships, right? Did this create an opportunity for fundraisers in the future to benefit children? So what are some opportunities based on what you've seen? If you had more time, or if your weaknesses weren't weaknesses, what are some opportunities? Threats. What are some threats to your client, your campaign? Is there a similar product out there? Do you not have, is at the end of the season, so you're worried about, not getting enough traction or not being able to reach enough people because it's the end of a particular season. So what are some threats? Maybe TikTok's having issues again, freezing or changing hands. What are some threats that to your particular campaign? A threat could be, you know, I hate to say it, but a threat could be Cardi B gets caught up in a scandal, you know, and that's for the one of you who is doing the do good, grow good campaign. Um, but a possible threat as well is, maybe you don't have access to enough information, or someone is competing. There's a competitor out there. So anyway, that's a SWOT analysis. Moving along. So, the tactics and strategies and tactics. So, if you have taken the social media for PR class, yes, you can use your books that you had in that class. But if you didn't take the class yet, that's okay too, because you don't need them, but you can use them. And I think in every group, oops, one of y'all, one of the groups doesn't have the book. Um, but if you have questions about those books, just let me know. If I find them in storage, I would definitely photocopy some stuff for you. But this is information, like I said, that's out there. Just Google it. You're transitioning now, right? So you're going from planning to implementation. So your minds have to switch now to where you're like, okay, we were doing all this background stuff and looking at other campaigns. Now we have to think about like, how are we going to implement this? Like, how are we going to carry out this campaign, right? We have a 6-month campaign, we have a 3-month campaign, we have a week-long campaign, whatever it's called, whatever it is. What are some strategies, right? So strategies are the overall concept and approach for the campaign. Consider info discovered in your research, and also using rhetorical appeals like pathos, ethos, and logos, right? So looking those up because I don't want to like bore you with all that, but like just using the rhetorical, logical appeals. The rhetorical appeals meaning how are you going to play on people's minds, like their intelligence, and tap into their intelligence. You're going to tap into their hearts. What do they love? What are they passionate about? Or are you going to tap into other areas, right? So just having that strategy that way, once you have that as part of your strategy, you'll be able to implement the tactics, right? So your strategies are what you want to do. Okay. You want to create a TikTok. And then the tactics is how are you going to do it? All right. Posting a TikTok every week. That's a tactic, right? But your strategy is, well, let me be clear. Your strategy could be, I want to create social media buzz, right? We're going to use these three social media platforms, right? We're going to use, let's say we want to use TikTok, we want to use Instagram, and we want to use Facebook. Those are strategies, social media, right? And then the tactics are what are you going to do for each one of them, right? So you're going to schedule posts like dance videos, or you're going to schedule something around TikTok specific to that platform. And then for Instagram, you want to make sure you have some really cool reels, if you're going to do Instagram. So these are all things in which the channels to reach audiences, right? Media, non-media, and interactive. So let me go back to another tactic, right? Would be, let's say your strategy is to have more public facing visibility. So then your tactic would be create a fireside chat, develop a fireside chat for the client, or create like a wine tasting or a product sampling or something, right? An event. So that could be a tactic. Make sure you choose a media channel that depends on the client, right? Choosing one depends on the client. That's what it says here. The client, audience, and the time, because you don't want to post stuff about your client on LinkedIn at, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, because that's not where the LinkedIn audience would be. So knowing where your audience is at any given time for any given platform, because some platforms, Mondays are not good days to post, but other platforms, they are. Some platforms, the morning isn't a good time to post, but then other platforms they are. So make sure you have done that research, okay? And then actual events, media, and methods to implement your strategies, right? So that's what I was saying, having the fireside chat, having the reception or the wine tasting, making sure that if it's a press conference or if it's going on a talk show, all of these media things, media events, be specific about it. And they have to all look, they have to all be going towards the same goal, but also these should tie directly back to your objectives. Okay. Your strategies and tactics should tie directly back to your objectives. I say it again. Strategies and tactics tie directly back to objectives. So if I don't see one of those objectives in that strategies and tactics, I can't help but take points off for that one. But I'm going to want to know, where is it? You got this awesome objective here, but there's no strategy around it. And if there's no strategy, you can't have no tactics. So just keep that in mind. So these are some digital channels and looking at how you can use digital channels, right? So your search engine optimization. Say that 3 times in a row. Search engine optimization and blogs. So I use blog. I put the word blogs here, but most people don't really do blogs. They do like newsletters, maybe, or they have a Patreon account or a Substack. Don't sleep on Substack because it's gaining traction. It's getting more popular. But also maybe an article in Medium or something. So Medium is an online source where you can write your own articles and submit it to be published to all of Medium's subscribers. I'm a subscriber. So when you're doing that, focus on keywords and hashtags, okay? So when you're thinking about your search engine optimization or blogs or newsletters or what have you, think about those keywords and hashtags. That's a great question to discuss with Sade. Also, if you're choosing social media, let's say you have um, two social media strategies, right? And then, I'm sorry, you have two social media tactics. So you have this strategy that you want to post on social media weekly, let's say, right? And then your tactics will be, what are you posting? What is the content, right? So, and where are you posting? So let's say the weekly platform A, you're going to post a fun fact about your client or about the organization or the company. Robertina is doing Trinity, right? So weekly platform A, she's going to post a fun fact about Trinity. And then platform B would be video tutorials, like how to get from the main building to the Trinity Center, or a video about like how do you catch the bus to Trinity maybe, or something, or what is the best time to be on campus so you can get, free food when they have events, things like that. So that could be a video tutorial, hypothetically. And then you have your other social media channel, right? Where you are thinking about an act of kindness. So, weekly platform A on this, for this particular post, it'll be an act of kindness. Maybe someone at Trinity helped someone who was disabled, or you have a spotlight, Trinity spotlight or something. So that's something to think about, like an act of kindness. Also, and then platform B would be a funny video or a Q&A with the client or maybe with President McGuire. So, and I'm trying to think of all of y'all's clients so I can use them all in examples. I apologize if I don't get to everybody's. Um, Partnerships. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna now shift to the other group's client, the mental health organization. Having a mental health organization opens you up to the community, right? So let's say you are looking at community collaborations, and you're trying to do a collaboration post on Instagram. Okay, you don't know how to do that? You can Google it, but we can also work on it in class, or you can ask each other. But you can have more than one Instagram handle associated with one post, right? So, or for the do good, the grow good, I keep saying do good, think about popcorn. I mean, I must be hungry. But for the grow good campaign, maybe you want to look at 10 influencers, right? Or not even 10 if it's a short campaign, 5 influencers. But who are the people who are really making waves in hair products, young people, or maybe even working professionals who are making these tutorials about different hair products. Maybe you can tap them, or or if it's someone that hasn't had an endorsement or hasn't endorsed a product, maybe you can use them as an example. Again, your campaigns are full of hypotheticals. Okay, none of this, has to be absolutely true since we don't have enough time to carry it out. Um, Brand sponsors. Oh my goodness. The looking at you wanting to bring Jay-Z to the forefront again, right? He's been in the background, producing Super Bowls, having babies, supporting his wife, supporting his children. Now he's in the forefront, right? So I don't know if he still is a an owner of Duce, but maybe, him being a brand sponsor, he can brand sponsor some things and have Duce events and stuff. That could be a good look. But also you think about like his foundation and things that he's done with the Marcy projects. So that's a really cool approach to partnerships. Email campaign, monthly newsletters, and exclusive offers. I think that it would be very helpful, especially when you have like your mental health campaign, but also with the it just really escapes me. I'm sorry. With the Trinity campaign, sorry. And just having, hey, Trinity students, we have a partnership with this brand, and you sign up for the newsletter and you'll get it. Or with Trinity, you can even talk to the alumni office to send out some emails for you as well. And Lindsay is a great resource for that, I think. But exclusive offers with the Grow Good, or exclusive offers like, maybe half off of a Jay-Z concert ticket. It's still gonna be a whole paycheck, but it'll be half off, so something like that. Again, please ask questions. You can email me or post on Moodle. So I'm gonna just remind y'all of the peso model again. I know it was in the last one, but keep this in mind when you're thinking about your tactics, okay? Because I expect to see your earned media, your shared media, owned media, paid media, okay? And these are examples of each one of those. Again, content, content, content. All right, budgeting. All right. So this is just an example of a PR campaign budget. Okay. This is not a this is not I don't even know if these numbers are correct. So please don't judge me. But you look at the channel, right? The budget, the allocation. So the setup is here. What is your budget? And I would even put at the top right here what the budget is. So if your budget is $5,000, then all of this should add up to $5,000 down here, unless you need to do fundraising. That's a whole nother part of a campaign. Okay. And then how much of this amount is being allocated? I mean, I'm sorry, what's the percentage of the campaign that this is taken up, right? So all of this should add up to 100%. Okay, down here. So if you think about your email marketing, right? Is that just 5% of your campaign? Which all of this looks pretty average for a PR campaign. However, like PR magazines, maybe instead of magazines, you have like billboards, or you have bus ads or something like that on the side of a bus or a train, inside the metro. Launch events, product launch events, like that goes back to the fireside chat, the tastings, the product samples, things like that. So all of that would be in that bucket. It doesn't have to be as cut and dry as this, but it has to make sense. And when you write it out, you're going to basically discuss where each channel, how much it's going to cost. And again, you can use broad strokes. Don't feel like you have to be perfect, but it has to be realistic. Okay. It does have to be realistic. So maybe your launch event would be $2,500 instead of $10,000. But, I'm big on round numbers. And again, email me with questions. Okay. So this is a sample timeline. Okay. Um, this is not, and again, all this stuff is just fluff. Don't worry about it. But this is a sample timeline in terms of how you're going to implement things. So it doesn't have to look like this, but January, February, maybe you want to do, just teasers. And that's kind of what I hope y'all looked at the ad or the graphic from Chris Brown and Usher's concert. Because what they're doing, they start out with teasers like a video or um social media post, but not really going because they didn't have concert dates at first, right? But then March to April, which is where we are, they're like, okay, we're gonna have pre-sale tickets, right? And then and they've even added dates. So here, let's go through this. January, February, New Year skincare campaign, email refresh. And then March through April, Barcel glow teaser. Again, all this is like, just made up stuff. Earth Day giveaway. Earth Day is coming up, so that's something to think about. Um, May through June, this is a full year, okay? Yours don't have to be this long, but May through June is the product launch and influencer platform A. And then July through August, brand collaborations, summer campaign. Because again, if you're going through different seasons, you want to make sure that your PR campaign meets people where they are, right? So if this is a beauty care, hopefully the brand collaborations and the summer campaign deals with like, sun exposure, right? Dry skin in the summer and things like that. So that's why there's a summer campaign. And then September to October, loyalty program launch, right? Press features. So, in September through October, you also think about, Beyonce's birthday, September 4th, right? So think about that. Think about when, Cardi B's birthday is, or think about if, for mental health awareness, if one of those months are related to mental health awareness. So these are things just to think about. And then November, December, holiday stuff. It should be holiday themed stuff, right? So the Grow Good PR campaign, you're going to be sending out, holiday kits to, the influencers, let's say. And then they post unboxing videos. So that's part of a tactic, right? And then so the strategy is to get them in the hands, get these holiday kits in the hands of influencers. But then the tactic is for them each to be posting on social media. December 4th, it's Jay-Z's birthday. So you want to do something around his birthday. So these are things just to think about. And annual review, that's usually in any kind of sales capacity. You want to do an annual review. Thoughts, questions, concerns. So we're at a place now where I'm hoping that you got something out of this recording and that you are able to meet with your groups beginning of class and or meet with each other, Robertina and Lindsay, just to kind of go over where you are and also decide when you're meeting with your group when you want to meet with me. And yes, I'm going to require you to meet with me before next Friday. So think about when you want to meet with me as a group and individually, if you have the time individually. But I'm hoping that you all can come together and meet with me over the weekend. But if not, just let me know when you all are available next week and I'll try to make it work. Thank you so much for, again, your condolences, but also your understanding and your grace for this crazy 2 weeks. And we'll be back at it, same time, same station. I hope that you have an amazing conversation with Falashade, but also you get some great tools and tips and jewels and little tidbits. Again, she will hop on at 8 p.m. But you have from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. to meet with your groups. Again, the breakout groups will be set up and you should be fine. Have a good one. God bless.